Hey guys, so I just wanted to talk really quickly about multiplying integers together. That U looks real funky. Okay, so when we're multiplying integers together, it's really important for us to know what happens with the signs. So let's think about, we'll just start with 1 times 1. We know what 1 times 1 is, right? It is 1. And this is going to be the pattern that it follows anytime I've got a positive number times a positive number. My answer is going to be positive. We've been doing those for years and years and years. We know what to do. But now we get into this tricky place of what do I do with the negative integers? So what if I have 1 times negative 1? Well, 1 times negative 1, remember the 1 times anything, we have the identity property, which you guys learned in 6th grade and which we've talked about a little bit this year already. 1 times anything is that thing. So 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. And that is the pattern that we see every time I do a positive times a negative. My answer is going to be negative. So similarly, negative 1 times positive 1, using the identity property again, anything times 1 is just itself. So this would give me negative 1 also. So we can now say a negative times a positive is going to also be a negative. So when the signs are different, one is positive and one is negative, the answer is going to be negative for multiplication. It's really important. That's for multiplication. Now, negative 1 times negative 1 equals, this is actually going to give me positive 1. So whenever I'm multiplying together two negative amounts, so a negative times a negative gives me a positive. And that is always going to be the pattern that happens. So negative times a negative is a positive. So we can use these rules here, these multiplication rules, for multiplying together any number. So if I had, let's do 4 times negative 2. So I've got a positive number, and then I've got a negative number here. So the first thing I want to do, kind of my step 1, is figure out the sign of my answer. So positive times a negative is a negative. So I know my answer is going to be negative. The next thing I need to do is multiply the numbers together. And this is like basically multiplying the absolute value of the numbers together. So I want to do 4 times 2. So remember, the absolute value pays attention not to whether it's negative or positive, but how far from 0 it is, what its distance from 0 is. So 4 times 2 is 8. And then kind of the last step here is to put it all together. So 4 times negative 2 equals negative 8. And that would be my final answer.